Let me begin with a question. If given the option between a movie and a classical dance recital, what would you choose? Movie, right? Be honest. Why would you go watch a dancer depicting a story about gods when you could watch a film that feels much more relatable? Well, my contention is that Bharatanatyam and Indian classical dance is much closer to your life than you may think. And today, I hope to change the way you think and feel about classical dance. A layman's perception of classical dance is that it is exotic, beautiful to look at, but still somehow boring and unrelatable. I would say that if you pay attention, in classical dance you'll find some of the most rich and nuanced explorations of human emotions like love, longing, pain, desire, and much more. Let's consider Nataraja, the dancing form of Shiva, as an example. Nata means a male dancer and Raja means king. So Nataraja is the king of dancers. Looking at the figure, the first thing that strikes is Shiva's posture. Let's have a closer look. What is he standing on? Shiva is balancing on the back of a dwarf, a demon by the name of Apasmara, who represents the ignorance of our ego. He steps firmly on his back and lifts the opposite foot away from the demon, showing the defeat of our ego and the rising out of its ignorance. With his left hand, he points towards the lifted foot, and with his right hand, he holds the Abhaya Mudra, discarding fear and worry. Hence, the stance itself becomes a symbol of the suppression of ego and spiritual contemplation. The other two hastas in Shiva's hands are equally symbolic. In his right hand, he holds the Damaru, which represents the sound of creation, and in his left hand, he holds the fire, which represents destruction, or more aptly put, dissolution. So, today we say that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Nataraja depicts this interplay of creation and dissolution that sustains life and shows us that neither can exist without the other. While what we see is a static sculpture, the flying matted locks of Shiva show the dynamism of his dance and amidst this powerful energy play that can be so overwhelming, he wears a gentle smile on his face that shows a yogi who is equanimous with the dancing energy of the cosmos. He smiles through birth and death, through fear and joy, through creation and dissolution alike. In the light of this iconography, Nataraja becomes a perspective on life itself. Now, let me ask you a question again. Can you appreciate this symbolism irrespective of your cultural background? Where is the barrier? What can possibly stop you from appreciating the beauty of Nataraja and the perspective on life that it offers? Don't you think that these ideas are beyond language, religion, or even spiritual inclination? These ideas are universal and secular in their meaning. Let's take this Nindastuti as an example. Here, the Nayika makes fun of Lord Shiva, who comes seeking alms, and she says that it is because of your love for your son Ganesha, who keeps eating modakas and his big belly, that you are roaming street to street with a bowl in your hand seeking alms like this. Let's watch this bit about the gods. Yes, we dance about gods, but the way we portray divinity is deeply human. We can show Shiva and Parvati in a couple's quarrel, or Ganesha teasing his brother Kartikeya, or Krishna throwing tantrums with Yashoda, and the list goes on. How is that different from our own lives? We humanize divinity and we show them going through the same emotions and challenges that we face every day. The gods are not distant or unrelatable. Rather, they are far more worldly than we give them credit for. And it is this that makes classical dance so universal. There is no religion to human emotion, and there are no boundaries to who can feel what. I, as a Sikh girl, born and brought up in Delhi, with no early initiation into the rituals and culture of the South, find myself immensely connected with the content of my dance. There is a grandeur to the universality of what we can feel, and that is the essence, the rasa, that is evoked by a powerful classical dance performance. But if it is not the content, then why is classical dance not as popular as other forms of entertainment? Perhaps it is the presentation. Classical dance emerged in an era that was slower and more composed than today. And in a world of constant overstimulation, where attention spans are shrinking to a mere 8 seconds, a dance piece that unfolds in 15 to 30 minutes can seem like a tedious watch. But some emotions cannot be evoked without patience. I find comfort in the fact and hope in the fact that patience can be cultivated. And when the subconscious barrier of relatability is removed, more of us will be able to engage with classical dance. The grandeur of presentation, the decoration, the stories of the gods, the larger-than-life vision is just a tool to show and depict that which is most important of all. And that is you, your life, your emotions, and your experiences. I feel that through dance, we encapsulate humanity in a garb of divinity. And in the process, we realize that it is in living deeply and fully, and when we are sensitive and mindful of the smallest of things, where their divinity ultimately lies. We deify the human through exaggeration, and we deify the human through exaggeration to justify the grandeur and beauty of human life. It is this immersive experience that classical dance aims to evoke, and hence the entire exercise of communication becomes futile in the lack of an active, engaging audience that is open to this immersion. If you feel this essence when watching a classical performance, even for a split second, then you are a rasika, someone who can relish the rasa. The rasika, the audience, is as important as the dancer, and perhaps as important as the dance, the art itself. Therefore, the beauty lies in the fact that while everyone cannot be a dancer, everyone, each one of us, can open ourselves to what classical dance has to offer, and everyone can be a rasika. And your being one is important to dancers like me.